My Little Pony is owned by DHX Media and Hasbro Studios. Please support the official release. Hello YouTube, T-Sparks here for a character analysis. Now, this might be a polarizing issue for some of you guys, but I've been watching some old reviews of Season 5 and 6 and whatnot, and seems to be a lot of people claiming that Starlight does not deserve to be Twilight's apprentice that Sunset Shimmer should be. But I have never felt that way, and if you guys will hear me out, I'll tell you why. For one, yes, Starlight's redemption was rushed and poorly done, but I don't have a problem with it with how she turned out. Now, what I don't understand is why so many people give Sunset so much praise and Starlight so much ire. Let's look at the goals of the two. Sunset Shimmer. Why did she turn evil? Because she wanted power and Celestia wouldn't give it to her. She was a whiny little brat. And when Celestia threw her out, she threw a tantrum and left for the human world. Starlight Glimmer. Why did she turn evil? Because she was traumatized as a foal, and yes, it can be argued it wasn't worth being traumatized for, but we have no idea what her family life was like, or what she actually went through. But what was her goal? During this entire thing, she only had two goals. One, her Equality Town. Yes, she was using them to fulfill her own insecurities. But there is a difference between her and Sunset. Starlight Glimmer believed what she was doing was the right thing to do. That she was actually helping these people feel whole. Because she didn't want any of them to go through what she did. Losing a friend because of differences. She had no ill intent. Her ideology got twisted, don't get me wrong, and she was a manipulative little dictator at the time. But she intended to help those people.
I brought you friendship.
And
I brought you equality. I created harmony!
I guarantee you 99% of them came there of their own free will. We only saw her take the main six's cutie marks by force. And she was quite clear she thought she was helping them. Now, the second thing, her revenge on Twilight. It was fed by her insecurities. It's what we've seen over the last 2 seasons. It was her inherent feeling that she was inadequate and that she'd never measure up. Then she saw Twilight, someone she truly admired and wanted to be like. She didn't want to admit that until later, but from the moment she met Twilight, she saw something she never had before. That is why she was able to be turned by Twilight. She never intended to destroy the world. She had no idea her time manipulation was destroying Equestria until Twilight took her to the present and showed her what she was doing. She was in denial at that time, but she realized before the end of the episode that she screwed up. Tell me, how many of the enemies have actually said, I know what I did was wrong, and I'm willing to take the consequences for it, for whatever you guys think the punishment should be? Did Discord say that? No. Did Tarek? No. Nightmare Moon? No. She is the only villain that actually accepted her responsibility. Sure, she wasn't punished, and there really wouldn't be any reason to punish her. Because, you know, this is friendship with magic. You really think they're gonna punish someone? Now, there have been a lot of videos about Sunset and Starlight already out there. My favorite ones actually brought me to DWK. And of course, there's Low Pwn Views videos on this subject. Now we're going to talk more about Starlight, or Sunset Shimmer. Why do people give her so much praise? In the first movie, we can all agree she was a weak villain, because she was never meant to be a villain in the first place. Her motivations were out of insecurity, just like Starlight. But unlike Starlight, Sunset went down a darker path. May I remind you that Sunset's motivation in the first movie was power. She wanted to conquer Equestria in her name. Her motivations were wrong. In her mind, this is all just speculation, by the way, she was going to prove to Celestia that she was worthwhile by conquering Celestia. After her world was turned upside down, when she got transformed into the demon, her crying shows that she realized at that moment she screwed up big time. This was wrong, and this was not the way to go. Once the elements purged her of that, she had nothing left. She was at the mercy of Twilight and her friends. Now, in a higher rated show or something a little more cynical, she would have been taken back to Equestria in chains to be locked up. But this is MLP. Very rarely do the villains actually receive punishment. Which is one thing that ires me on Starlight Glimmer. Everyone saw, oh, she should be severely punished for what she did. But no one ever says that about Discord. Discord wanted to conquer the world too. He didn't care about people suffering. He reveled in it. But nobody says Discord should have been punished. Nobody ever says Nightmare Moon should be punished. So why is everyone so mad at Starlight? My theory is Starlight Glimmer represents change. That is why people hate her. There is a good portion of this fandom that wants the show to stay exactly the way it was in Season 1. Not evolve, not change. Because they like the formula. But the reason this show has excelled is because it changes. Change is what makes this show what it is. Without change, the show would just be Generation 3, and it would have been dead by now. One other reason that people claim that Starlight does not deserve to be Twilight's apprentice, that Sunset deserves it more and should be there. But I don't agree, and this is actually a positive towards Sunset. I don't think Sunset would benefit from being Twilight's student. Sunset Shimmer is actually more advanced than Starlight in personal interaction. After the fourth movie, it is clear that Sunset belongs in the human world, and she has no intention to go back to Equestria. She is where she's supposed to be. If she came back, it would not fit. There has to be someone to deal with the equestrian magic that's in the human world. And there's no one better than Sunset Shimmer to take care of that. That is why I don't believe she'd work as a student for Twilight. Number 2, Sunset just wouldn't be a good student for Twilight. Because let's all agree that Sunset idolizes Twilight. We saw it in the second and third movie. She just thought Twilight would give her all the answers, even though in the second and the third movie it was Sunset that saved the day. Because she did not see her self-worth, and she kind of put Twilight up on a pedestal, kind of like the dynamic between Twilight and Celestia. So that's why I think she would not make a good student. Because she would just go along with whatever Twilight says. Now Starlight Glimmer, on the other hand, she does idolize Twilight in a way, but she's not afraid to call her out on her bullshit. Starlight is not afraid to tell Twilight when she's doing something wrong. And to do what she thinks is right. That is why she makes a much better student for Twi. Twi needs someone to put her in her place every now and then, because she gets a little too much into her own head.
You meant I don't trust you.
Now, I doubt anyone watched this video. I'm just getting tired of all the Starlight hate and saying that, oh, Sunset deserves it so much better. When I think it's clear that Sunset is where she belongs. The human world is where she's excelled more than anything. One last thing before this is over is their backstories. People claim that Sunset's backstory is so much better than Starlight's. And I will admit it's more thorough. But is it better, really? I saw her comic. She wanted power, didn't care about friends, and when she heard about the mirror, she pestered Celestia endlessly. And Celestia told her, no, I'm not telling you about that. So what did she do? She breaks into the forbidden section of the library and steals the books on it. So when Celestia catches her, she says, you gotta take some time and think about it. And then Sunset demands to be made a princess on the spot. Demands power. So Celestia does the right thing and says, get the hell out. You can come back when you've reevaluated your philosophy. But what does she do? She knocks out the guards and escapes. So she was a petty, bratty child that wanted power and tried to take it for herself. Starlight Glimmer got traumatized by Sunburst leaving, and it could be argued it wasn't that big a deal. But judging from what we've seen in the last couple seasons, it could be argued that Starlight doesn't have supportive parents, maybe not parents at all. And it only takes one step to put you on the wrong path. Just because that's what started it does not mean that's what caused it. Now the fact that we don't know more about her backstory is worse than Sunset, but I just don't see Sunset's being any better than Starlight's. In fact, I see Starlight's backstory as similar to the Tempest from the movie. People argue that that one is better, and I can't deny that, because she actually had physical disability because of an attack, and that would have traumatized anybody. So, all I'm saying is, stop being so hard on Starlight. She's here to stay. It's quite clear that she's become a mainstay in the show. And, I don't know, I just get the vibe from this that it's kind of like the Alicorn Twilight hate at the end of Season 3. A lot of the fandom just abandoned the show at that point, saying that this was stupid, shark jumping moment, and the show was dead forever. They're represented by the Quibble Pants of the fandom. I'm of the other side, that Twilight getting her wings was one of the best things the show has done, and so has the redemption of Starlight Glimmer. I do love Sunset to death, but I believe there is a separation of the two. Sunset is the best of the Equestrian Girls world. Starlight is number 2 in my list on the main cast, behind Twilight. Twilight's still my number 1, and she will always be, unless something changes. Well, thank you for anyone that listened to my crazy rant. I doubt the whole, one of you that saw it cared about it. Anyway, thanks, and see y'all. Bye.